Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health, with 7 locations to serve you better. We have a dedicated staff. And now, here's your host, CEO Vicki Soule.
Hello there, and welcome to Community Conversations. As the CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health, obviously we have a lot of health-related concerns at this time of year. So you know what? We're going to give you a break today. Today we're going to talk about education of our littlest ones, because that too is very, very important for our long-standing success as a community. Not that our health isn't important. I'd be in the wrong business to say that, but there's other aspects of our long-term sustainability as a successful community that is one that gives the caring and concern and success to us going forward. And so today I have 2 wonderful individuals who are in the education field, Brooke Flood, and give me a second, I'll introduce your companion here, your cohort, Pat Houston, and I'd like you both to tell our listening audience what it is you do.
Certainly. I'm Pat Houston, Director of Provider Services with the Early Learning Coalition, and our agency oversees the School Readiness and VPK program, but we're here today to talk about the VPK program. This year's a little unusual because of the pandemic and the way that parents are a little reserved at times about sending their child into the child care providers and to school for VPK.
Right.
This is a voluntary program, so the parents have to be willing and able and really trust in, that this is a safe place for their child. And in Indian River County, our enrollment's a little low this year. We were about 140 children fewer than we were at this time last year. So we thought we'd get the word out that there's still opportunity and go into depth a little bit more about what the VPK program is and how it benefits the community.
That is great to hear that the idea is to spread the word. So parents, grandparents, even if you don't have a 4-year-old in your own household or directly related to you, help us spread the word on this, because as Pat said, 140, I thought there's 140 opportunities for us to help our littlest ones gain knowledge, gain teamwork, gain playtime outside of their own home. Brooke, tell us.
Good morning. My name is Brooke Flood. I am the principal of early learning here with the School District of Indian River County, and I have the unique opportunity of overseeing all of our school district VPK programs, both the voluntary pre-K and my preschool early intervention program. So those are our 3 to 5-year-olds who might have some developmental delays, autism, speech language needs, as well as our voluntary pre-K program, which serves our 4-year-olds who are 4 as of September 1st.
Okay.
And go right along with that program and get to work very closely with Pat and the Early Learning Coalition. Great relationship that we have built, and we work very collaboratively to bring all of our little ones into quality care so that they are ready for kindergarten.
And that's the main objective. As we rolled out the Moonshot Moment several years ago, we had great ambitions and goals, but the whole idea was to ensure that the 3rd graders were ready to read as a learning exercise for future educational things. And as we peeled that onion back, we all discovered that really, it's not a question of getting them from kindergarten to 3rd grade. It's really starting as early as possible. And so more and more attention has been put on those early years. So as I understand what you said, Brooke, correct me if I'm wrong, there's multiple programs for different ages and different abilities or different needs.
Yes.
So is there a lot of different places that people have to call to find out about that? Or is that where Pat's program comes in?
So kind of duly noted for the VPK and childcare programming within the community. You might have a child, infant to toddler, and then coming over to the VPK. That would be Pat's side with the Office of Early Learning. With us and the Early Learning Coalition, with us in the district, we serve our 3 to 5-year-olds who may have meet eligibility criteria for an early intervention program. Okay. And they would contact us directly in our office through the Child Find. And then the VPK program, we work collaboratively with the Early Learning Coalition. We follow the same standards, guidelines, contracting to provide those opportunities for those 4-year-olds transitioning into kindergarten. So they can have one of two programs. They can do a school year program, which is 540 hours of instruction, or they can join us in the district for our summer VPK program, which is a 300 very intensive hour program over the summer months.
So for children who haven't been in during the school year, this is for those that are almost going to kindergarten in the fall.
Yes.
Okay. So it's sort of like an accelerated reader class.
It's kind of an accelerated reader. And yes, and then once we have that, then we have a couple of completers programs. So if you have completed the VPK program and you need just that little extra push, you can join some of the completers programs with Pat and the coalition, or with us in the district with our Step into Kindergarten program.
Wow, there's a lot of information there.
Yes.
So let me see if I can translate this in an easier way then. Pat, your programs are really related to the child care providers for the most part, so that working parents, for example, know that their kids are still being adequately prepared for kindergarten. Have I simplified that too much?
Well, we're charged with overseeing VPK and the voluntary pre-K program in general. For statewide, the coalitions do that. So we have a list of all of the providers that have availability for whatever needs the parent has. If there's a geographic preference, if there's a provider preference, there's research that can be done. We have all the providers on our website, or we have a CCR&R program where they can contact our office and we'll walk through them really specifically, depending on what their needs are, certain hours that they may need the program to be opened, a bilingual program. We even have school readiness providers with overnight care as needed. So
really?
Not for VPK, for school readiness, but there's a wealth of information available, and it's all free. The information is free. The VPK program itself is free for the 540 school year hours. Okay. I did want to mention that there's 2 programs that are starting the full school year program in January. So if there's parents that have a 4-year-old child within the age group that, is qualified, they can contact us and they can still enroll their child for the full 540-hour program, which will start in January and end in the beginning of June, late May. And so they can still get full programming, even if they haven't started yet. And it's not virtual. It's in person. It's face-to-face. The child care providers have health and safety protocols. Okay. All of them are individual, but some of them have the parents outside, and walk the teacher walks the child in, for example, so that there's a lot of health and safety awareness because of the pandemic at this time.
And how would they reach this information? Do you have a website, a phone number?
We do. We have a lot of information on our website, which is www.elcirmo.org. And that's an acronym for Early Learning Coalition Indian River, Martin, Okeechobee, and then .org, because we're a multi-county coalition.
Okay.
And they can also call our office. We have a local office in Vero Beach with, people who answer these questions all day long. We have a centralized system where if they call our 800 number, they can get anyone, anyone in the 3 counties can even answer their questions. And we're happy to give out as much information as we can to help the parents feel comfortable with their choice.
So why would somebody enroll their child at this time? As you say, there's so much concern. And of course, parents view their children as their best and most important asset. And nobody wants to put them at risk, despite all the assurances. That's the con part of it, the liability of potentially exposing your child. Talk to us about the positive aspects. What did the parents and the kids get out of this?
Oh boy, there's so much, but
I think we could talk for hours on that one.
Okay, so we will let you give a summary, and then we'll dive into the details after a word from our sponsors. How's that?
That sounds great. Well, just real briefly, people really like data, and the data shows that VPK completers do better academically in kindergarten after completing the VPK program. That's statewide data and local data both that supports that. So we know that the program makes a difference. It's hands-on educational activities tied to the standards. There's developmental standards that they must teach to.
Okay, because I was going to be devil's advocate as an old parent and say, so what? So they pass kindergarten. Big deal. Yay.
Right. And so as you know from the Moonshot moment, the trajectory of where you start has a lot to do with how well you do in those, monumental assessments that are done. So
kindergarten is no longer learning how to tie your shoes and learning the alphabet and learning not to thump Johnny next to you on the head with a toy.
Oh, there's a lot more to that.
A lot more.
Well, we reach all kinds of audiences.
Yes.
So I am being a bit of a devil's advocate here because certainly a lot has changed, even recently, in terms of how we put things together. So when we come back, we're going to let you educate us more. And I promise I won't be the agitator.
We love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You're on Planet Vero Radio and TV. Stay with us.
New Vision Eye Center provides world-class eye care on the Treasure Coast. To tell you more, here's Dr. Robert Reinauer.
Many patients are under the impression that floaters in your eyes are a condition that you have to just accept. Floaters can spontaneously appear as part of the natural aging process, and they disrupt your clear vision. Some have had a laser treatment that does not remove the floaters. At New Vision Eye Center, we provide the latest techniques in the permanent removal of floaters in your eyes.
Dr. Robert Reinauer with New Vision Eye Center exclusively performs this proven procedure to remove annoying floaters in the eyes, providing world-class care for macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, and retinal surgery. For an appointment, call 772-257-8700 or visit newvisioneyecenter.com. Make the move to retinal specialist Dr. Robert Reinauer at New Vision Eye Center in Vero Beach.
ITEX, or International Trade Exchange, is the largest barter company in the world with over 25,000 members offering goods and services. We're a marketing company that brings you new business in the way of trade, with over 200 local members enjoying the benefits of ITEX, like lawyers, doctors, plumbers, media, printing, and more.
Hi, this is Liz Bowler. Contact me and find out why barter through ITEX has been smarter for over 30 years. 772-532-1881. Visit itex.com.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. As the CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health, most of you know that I am Vicki Soule. And today I have 2 guests with me that are not health related directly. They are educationally related to our better health. Pat Houston from the Early Learning Coalition, and Brooke Flood, who is the principal of the VPK program at the school district.
Yes.
So we've been talking about the various programs, and most importantly, that there is still room available for this free program that will start on a voluntary basis through a lot of different voluntary child care associations and agencies in January, and have 540 hours of prep time to get them ready for kindergarten in the fall. And especially this year, it's so important. Brooke, you said that you have a number of kids in the school district that are younger than the traditional 4-year-olds that we're preparing for kindergarten. They actually start at 3 years of age because they may have some special needs that we want to help with. And what immediately comes to my mind is speech and language.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So within our district programs, we have some classrooms that are readily available to serve our students with special needs.
Okay.
So for our parents, if they feel maybe their little one's not making those speech milestones or language milestones, or they're just not walking at the right time, they're not toileting at the right time, we say, give us a call. Let us get your little one in. Let us screen your little one. All it takes is a quick trip to our office. We are in person. Our staff has these amazing little face shields that pop over to protect us and to protect the little one. And we're able to do a screener to see, are they meeting those milestones? And if they're not, then we'll invite the family back for an evaluation. From that evaluation, our speech language pathologist, our school psychologist, they will work together to run our little ones through an assessment and an evaluation to see, do they meet eligibility criteria for this specialized program?
Do you get some referrals from pediatricians who are seeing, again, that the children aren't quite at the age milestone that they should be?
Absolutely. And sometimes we wish the pediatricians would push just a little bit sooner because it takes a while for a parent to really understand, because they think, my little one, they're right on track.
That's
even
right.
though the pediatrician says, not quite, but we'll wait. For me, as soon as they're 3, if we're not seeing it, begin that push, because sometimes our little ones come to us within 4 or 5 months of kindergarten, and we could have had an entire, almost 2 years, depending on when they turn 3, prior to kindergarten to prepare.
So I have one more question.
Sure.
Actually, I have 2, but one of them is how people get in touch with you. So let's do that one first.
Absolutely. So for the families who have some concerns about milestones and developmental continuums and such, they would call our Child Find office to Miss Claudia. She is our intake specialist, and our number is 772-564-4166. And she's in the office between 8 and 4:30, usually 5. But families can call anytime, let us do an intake, and we'll go through the process, set you up for a screener, and so.
So I'm assuming that the program actually runs within a school area. And so what kind of hours are we looking at for the children to participate?
Absolutely. So depending on what the child is eligible for and what we feel, especially in the beginning, if a little one has been in a child care provider and they've been able to do a full day, we typically bring them in for the full day.
Oh.
If they've been home with mom, we may say that we think, let's come in for a half day, and then we reevaluate in 6 weeks. We look to say, how's the little one doing? Are they making adequate progress? How quickly can we get them into the school day? So it's usually that 8:30 to 3 o'clock school day for these little ones.
But in a when you were talking about if they've been home with mom and they aren't quite ready, I flashback to the first day of kindergarten. And
then you figure a child with a developmental delay, while they are 3 chronologically, they may be 18 months, less than that, maybe 15 months developmentally. So it's a big, big challenge, but our teachers are just exceptional at getting them in and getting them started and helping them meet their educational goals.
And do many of those children then transition into the traditional 4-year-old VPK?
Yes, we do. We're very proud of our inclusion model. We try very hard to get those 3 to 5-year-olds, once they meet the age of 4 by September 1st, we try to get them into our VPK classroom with our neurotypical or typically developing peers so that they can learn right alongside and get those adequate models. And if they don't, that's okay too. We'll bring them in for our summer program. Lots of opportunities for these little guys.
You hear that, parents? Lots of opportunities. You don't have to do this all on your own. Yes. What's that old saying? It takes a village to raise a child. But for those that are, for whatever reason, unable to enroll their child, even make the phone call sometimes, life is so crazy right now. Pat, what do you suggest parents do to help their children get ready? Because we were having a quick conversation during the break that, what did you say, Brooke, that kindergarten is now?
Yes. So in a lot of terms, when families think of kindergarten, that's kind of what pre-K is now. Our voluntary pre-K is that early learning, that social emotional time. Our work is play. What families have an old idea of what kindergarten is has now come down to the 4-year-olds. Kindergarten is intense, but our students are open to it. They don't stress like a lot of families think they are. They just roll right along. And the more that we can do in the VPK setting to get them socially, emotionally prepared, routines, learning their standards, making sure they're meeting their milestones.
And especially getting along with others.
Yes, that's
I
huge.
really see the difference between children who have siblings around their same age and a single child. Of course, I saw that many years ago, and that's why I have 6 kids, but be that as it may. There's also some loose wires up in my head, obviously. So, Pat, if a parent is at home with their child, whether they anticipate going on to the 4-year-old VPK or not, for the younger sets, what can the parents do in anticipation of that? Reading, of course.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's all about building the child's architecture at these young ages, and that's stimulating and engaging them in what they're doing, following the child's interest, and then having conversations about what they're doing and using rich language just in your everyday activities, bath time, meal time, play time, every time. There's a new initiative that we're part of, our coalition's part of, that's statewide. PNC is sponsoring some literature and resources for us called 3 T's Time is Anytime, and it's free. The
3T as in the letter?
3 T's, the letter T, okay. And it's you talk more and take turns and tune in.
Tune into your child.
Yes.
Tune into your child. So first of all, the being in the present moment with your child, whatever their area of interest in, you know, you want to go with that. You want to tune into what they're doing, what their interest is, and then have conversations about it and open-ended questions. You know, oh, how is that happening, or why is that happening?
We used to use those flip cards where they had to do matches.
Yes.
And so the animals, you know, what does an animal say?
Yes.
And, you know, what do they eat and all those types of things. It worked for some, not for everyone. But I still have great memories of tuning into what they understood and what, you know, and they play around the table and all that.
And you can build so much learning in with play. You know, say you have your play animals here. You can talk about the over and the under, you positional words. There's so much rich language you can use just in your everyday experiences. And when you're playing with blocks, you're building engineering skills and math skills. You're taking away, you're adding. You just have to introduce the language into what you're doing anyway. And there's a website, the 3ts.org. It's the 3ts.org website that gives more free information to families onto how they can incorporate little things like that into their everyday. And there's a milestones section in the Office of Early Learning website where if they have concerns about their child at any age, you know, the birth divide, they can go on and look at the milestones
of what they've heard.
Exactly. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we have an inclusion program so that we have a hotline, a warm line it's called, where any parent with a concern can call the warm line and talk about what's happening to their birth to child
phone number
child.
Again, then.
Well, I'll direct you to our office centralized number, which is 772-220-1220. And if they dial 0 for the operator, they can put you into any line that you need. But, you know, we go out and do assistance with parents. There's agencies in Indian River County that'll help with an ASQ screen, even if the child isn't at a provider right now. So there's a lot of great information out there.
Treasure Coast pediatricians do,
yes,
and there's a number of providers that do that.
Right, and I wanted to mention we have a virtual classroom on our website with activities for families to do at home at any time, incorporating a variety of learning domains, and that's www.elcirmo.org. And there's a virtual classroom button you click on, and it'll show all the variety of lessons that we've done. There's always a video of a book reading.
Pat, Brooke, this is awesome. Yes. You're right. We could go forever, but they're going to cut us off. So I want to thank you both for being here. You're a wealth of information, and I hope that we see enrollment spike in January. That's a good thing. And thank you all for listening. Pass the word on, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.